It's the busiest time of the festival. Everyone's dashing about in and out of workshops. We're just about to catch Elaine Young, the Tantric Shaman. Welcome, Elaine.
Thank you.
Really grateful that you're doing this time. I've been looking forward to speaking with you. You do so much in the world of Tantra now. So you work shamanically, you work tantrically, you combine the two. You're a sexuality body worker, you work with ISTA. I'm really curious to know how you got into this field of work.
I think like a lot of people that I met, I got into this field of work by looking for solutions to my own issues. So I had a large grief event in my life, which then prompted a kind of moment of trying to stick plasters on myself and carry on, or allowing a kind of crumbling into this grief. In the process of doing that, I realized that I didn't really know who I was anymore, and that I wanted to explore ways to not shy away from that grief and to feel it fully and to figure out what it meant for me. And that took me to Tantra initially. So that took me to Tantra. So that was like this chapter. But when I began, I was about 12, and someone gave me a meditation tape, a self-meditation tape. And so I started meditating probably from about the age of 12, regularly. And so that's been a part of, and a lot of void and sort of spirit experiences. But because of my Catholic upbringing, I was very shunning of the whole spirituality thing.
What kind of spirit experiences?
So I had a few experiences in my early life where I would be asleep and then I would feel presences. I would feel almost like, a couple of times like a burglar was in the room. And then I would be sure there's a burglar in the room and I would have to look up or go and there would be no one there. And sometimes the experiences of the energies would come quite close to me. So after a couple of times of it happening and then really being sure there wasn't a burglar, but I felt those presences. So that was where the sort of my journey with consciousness, as I see it, began. Alongside that, I was very sexual from a very young age. Started masturbating at a young age, and my mother came and asked me, the question, and I'm forever grateful for her because she didn't shame me then. She kind of said, I'm just wanting to ask, and it's okay and it's normal. And like I've not met many people who had that experience. I think I was about 9 or something.
Wow.
And so I was making a lot of noise, which I didn't realize she could obviously hear in a bedroom next door. So my sexual energy was very activated at a young age. But in my teens and in my 20s, that expressed itself in exploring different sexual orientations, different fetishes, different experiences of people seeking sexuality. So I started to realize now that all of that was part of this too. So although I had a very traditional career for a number of years as a medical scientist in surgery, I was a vascular scientist, so I did the diagnostics for the vascular surgery, and sometimes I was in theatre for the procedures. And people say, wow, it's very different to what you're doing now, how did you go? But actually it's not so different because I was working with patients with vascular disease, blockages in their circulation. And I was using ultrasound, sound waves, infrared, to look and find those areas of blockages and then figure out ways for them to have interventions and then checking them afterwards. So it's kind of strangely not so different now, but working with bodies and energy and my hands and people who are less down the line, fortunately, because the people I was working with for those 20 years were in pretty bad shape, a lot of them, because they hadn't been aware of the things that I'm working with people now, including, and that was my own journey too. I consider my own health and my own well-being very different to what it would have been if I had not embraced getting more embodiment, getting a better emotional management of my emotional body, better understanding, more sexual fulfillment, which makes us more alive, more spiritual awareness, which gives us more of a context for what matters in life.
So when did you make the change from being this kind of very scientific, career-oriented person to working professionally with Tantra? What kind of pushed you or drove you or pulled you to make that flip?
It was this grief event, just there was no option. I remember waking up one day and thinking, having gone through the process of learning Tantra and having these experiences, and then a lot of my healing was through shamanic breathwork, I was no longer the person that I was who did that. And very early on, people that I met who were teaching said to me, "Oh, you're going to be teaching this work." And I said, "No, I have this great medical practice, I have a nice life, I have lots of holidays, I earn good money. Why would I want to change that?" And then one day I realized that I could no longer be in that. You know, a year or two of doing more trainings and transitioning and taking time off and going back and realizing it was beautiful and I loved it when I did it. I was very committed, but it was no longer me.
And so now, you've transitioned, you're a teacher, and not everyone becomes a teacher. I mean, a lot of people go into the tantric path, but only a few actually progress on to teach. So was there something about that was special for you, or you felt like a calling somewhere?
It was really about wanting to share what I learned with other people. So it was really seeing how much it had done for me, and therefore how much potentially it could offer to others. But in my life, in my kind of personality, when I used to work for different trusts and different universities, and I did a lot of training of people in different types of clinical work and ultrasound. But I don't feel like that was really linked. I feel it was more this sort of, I want to share this.
So what are the things that you really took from Tantra? What are the gifts that it really brought you when you were dealing with this time of grief in your life? What really helped you to step through that?
So, firstly, I stopped living in my head. The first thing was embodiment. And so many of us are wandering around, living here, totally cut off from our bodies, not feeling anything, running on adrenaline, running on stress. So the first thing it gave me was to be more in my body, which allowed me to realize more what was actually happening. How was I actually feeling? Where was I not expressing my emotions? Where was I not expressing my desire? Where was I disconnected from sexual energy and emotional energy, which gets squashed down by society? It allowed me to feel into what was more authentic for me. I kind of took a path where I did a degree, I then got a job, I then got a training, and da-da-da, the wheel goes on. So it allowed me to be more in touch with what did I really want to do, you know. The other piece is my relationships completely transformed with all my family, with lovers, with friends, to be much deeper, much more real. And I started to see the value in life is not about your work, although you can love your work. It's not about necessarily money. It's about love and who you connect with and what your experiences are and how we honour ourselves and how we then start to honour other people and just experience life very differently.
So I guess the thing is, a lot of people, when they hear about Tantra, they think it's about sex. What is it about for you?
Aliveness, about being alive and living your life in a way that's connected to your heart and to your sexual energy and to your consciousness, and is less driven by the monkey mind, the ego mind, the stress. So the other thing that I really noticed was how honest am I being with myself? You know, how honest am I being with other people? How happy am I to ask for things that I want, for support? So for me and for a lot of women that I work with, one of the paths is this overly masculinated, I call over-masculation, where we are told to be academic, to be successful, to be financially successful. And one of the things that Tantra and particularly ISTA really teaches well about is this balance of the masculine and feminine. And so really it's about aliveness and wholeness. So it's not about men and women, it's not about your gender or your genitals, but it's about masculine is about flow and purpose and drive, and feminine allows creation, emotion, creativity. And in today's society, many of us, women and men, are operating purely in this masculine energy, and it can be very tiring. People get exhausted. People, don't know why they're trying so hard, and they're still so unhappy, and they're still so unfulfilled. They never quite get there. And often the key to that, or part of the key to that, is actually this balance of the masculine and feminine, and the judgment and rejection that a lot of women have had around our feminine, of not being valued, not being worthy, because society tends to value the masculine qualities. So in being able to embrace that part of me, being able to be willing to be vulnerable and see what difference that makes in your life, when you're no longer trying to hold on to it all and pretend that everything's fine and you've got it all together and you can cope. And we're taught to think that's a good thing, that's a great outcome, whereas this path has taught me that actually it takes a lot of strength to be vulnerable. It takes a lot of strength to own up for your desires. It takes a lot of strength to have authentic relationships, to not stay in relationships that aren't working for you. And that might be friendships, family relationships, or partners. And the other bigger picture, I guess, is being connected to and aware of, why am I here? It sounds like a really kind of hippie question. I just wander around India going, well, why am I here? But really, why are we here? And we get this one life with this body, and what are we going to do with it? And how much of that is empowered decision, and how much of that is default?
We could talk for ages, but it's just been wonderful to just get a sense of you and what you're passionate about and your stories. And thank you. Thank you for sharing. If people want to know how to reach you, to find out more about your work, because you work with people one-to-one, you run ISTA workshops and trainings all around the world, how can people find out about what you do?
I have a website, and the address is thetantricshaman.com. So thetantricshaman.com, or Elaine Young London will bring up on a search. And I'm happy to answer people's emails. I have a few meetup groups and a newsletter. And people, if they feel like I resonate with them, I'm very happy to hear.
Thank you so much, Elaine, for taking this time out. Really appreciate just getting a little taste of you, your essence, and what your offering is. Thank you for watching. Join me, Shakti Sundari, next time